All right, we are back for another battle report. We got Jeff here with us. We're going to be playing the Point Assault mission. Jeff's got this nice table set up for us. So you can see there are 5 objectives on the table. Controlling your home objective is worth 2 victory points. Controlling your opponent's home objective is worth 7. And then the 3 neutral objectives are worth 4 apiece. And the central objective is worth an additional 4 victory points. For this game, I will be using the Vital Intel secondary objective, which is why there's that additional upside down objective marker in the center. And Jeff is going to be using the Carnage secondary objective. So he's going to be trying to destroy a percentage of my force to gain victory points. So Jeff, do you have any initial thoughts about the game so far? What's your initial plan?
We've played this before.
We have, yeah.
Not well, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward mission. So
yeah, okay, yeah. So it's going to be triangle deployments, meeting in the center at that central objective. So we're going to go through the armies. We're going to start with Jeff's Knights and Imperial Fists, and then go to my Solar Auxilia. And go ahead.
So for my first formation, I'm running a Legion garrison force, which has a commander, a minimal 4-man squad, a detachment of Contemptor dreadnoughts with the last cannons, and then the Deradeos with the autocannon variant. My next formation is going to be the Legion Spear Tip Assault, which is led by a commander in a drop pod. It has the Palisade drop pod for support, and then two detachments of tacticals and drop pods with 2 missile launchers, 2 plasmas, and 4 infantry, standard infantry teams. And then moving up to my Bastion Lance, we'll have the Acastus Knight Porphyrion. It has the I forgot to note it's going to have the anti-aircraft on the rockets on the back, and then and they're each in their own slot, so they don't, those guys don't have to stay together 6 inches, as are the 2 knights, which are drawing a blank. The battle cannon variant, and they have the top missile launcher upgrade. And then moving over to the next formation, I have the two sticks. That's the Barony Guard Lance, which has the 2 Cerastus Lance variants, and then each of these detachments they have to stay together, so they're each a unit. And then one with the Meltas. The guys have the fists on them, but I didn't pay the points for that upgrade, so they're going to have chain swords. And then the ones in the back are the Crusaders, and they all have the rocket launcher upgrade on the back or on the top. And that's my 2,000 points exactly.
Great.
Actually, it's 1995.
This is my 2,000 point Solar Auxilia army. We're going to start over here on the left with my Pioneer Company. We've got a Las Rifle Tercio with 4 flamers and 8 Las Rifle stands with a tactical command. We've got 8 Velatari with axes, 4 Tarantulas with the anti-air missiles, 6 laser destroyers, an Avenger Strike Fighter, and 2 Valdor tank destroyers. Second formation is a armored company. We've got a section of Stormblades, and this is where the tank commander is going to be. We've got a detachment of 4 Malcadors, and then 3 detachments of 4 Leman Russ Vanquishers. So I'm using some of my Carmine Ambush Tercio back there to fill out this formation. And then last up, we've got a Lightning Fighter. And he's got a mix of anti-air and anti-tank missiles on there. Last formation is just an infantry formation. We've got 3 identical sections of 8 las rifles and 2 flamers. We got our Legate Marshal there, a detachment of 8 Ogrins, and then another detachment of 8 Velatari. So I don't know how this is going to go, going up against a bunch of knights, but we've got fairly significant anti-armor firepower, so hopefully that'll carry the day for us. So we're going to get set up, and we'll check in with you after that.
Okay, so my deployment was more of a center table to push up the center. I rely more on my drop pods later in the game, the whole later game objectives. Yeah, the whole idea is to try to control the center with all my brutes, and got a little bit of anti-air here, assets here and there, and that's pretty much my deployment.
All right. I'll go over to the other side of the table and we'll see what the Solar Auxilia did. All right, so this is the view from the Solar Auxilia side of the table. So it's an interesting matchup given how much infantry I have and how few infantry Jeff has. So I'm really going to have to kind of keep my distance, I think. Use the long range of the Vanquishers to best advantage. I kind of positioned some of my armor here to cover this open ground, along with some infantry trying to move up maybe on that left flank objective. Got some of my heavy armor in the center, focused around my home objective, and then trying to put some fire down this central corridor towards the central objective. And then on the right, I've kind of anchored my position with these laser rapiers, some vanquishers, Valdors, and then I infiltrated a section of infantry up into that building there to try to take that objective. So we got some infantry in the back line in reserve, waiting for Jeff's drop pods, but we'll see when those come in. We'll see how well they're able to handle that. So this is the situation at the end of deployment. So we're going to go ahead and do the first turn of movement, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, this is the situation at the end of movement, turn 1. Jeff, can you talk us through what you did?
Pushed up the center, got a first turn assault off, and then I'm just kind of like trying to envelop like I always do. I did bring in 1 drop pod unit to take this objective. Hopefully they're going to be standing there at the end of the turn. Kept 1 in reserve. And then I'm going to probably, we'll see what happens in the combat phase. But that's pretty much it. Just pretty much pushed up the center and trying to grab those objectives.
Yeah, so on my side, I just basically responded to most of Jeff's movement just by moving my armor to get into good firing positions. Brought in some of my aircraft and really just kind of positioned myself into better, like I said, better firing positions. Trying to get good firing lanes. Jeff's going to get some obscuration from the buildings. But for the most part, it's pretty simple first turn. I did try to move my infantry out to claim that central objective. I'll get the central objective, but I won't be able to pick up the vital intel, so that was a misplay on my part. But yeah, won't belabor the point. First turn, pretty simple. We're going to do combat, and then we'll check in with you after that. All right, go for it.
Yeah, on this side, you took a wound over here on one of your what do you call these, Valdors?
Yeah.
1 Valdor. You're able to secure this objective. This guy got shock pulsed and lost 2 wounds, so he's down to, or 3 wounds, so he's down to 1 wound. You did manage to kill. He killed a Lancer in close combat with a Solar Auxilia rifleman, which is pretty amazing. The reach kind of works both ways, so the reach kind of worked against me in that one, but oh well. We did manage to break that unit. They fell back. I peppered your Ogrins, killed a few of those. Yeah, I killed a few of those. Killed 1 or 2 of these riflemen in the center of the table, trying to get your hold it. Well, you still control that objective because you have better objective secure, better. What's it called in this game?
Tactical strength.
Tactical strength.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this guy broke through. He took a lot of firepower and survived. He's those things are pretty amazing. That shield is pretty good. Other than that, that pretty much is what I did. I mean, I moved forward a lot of units. I think I held my own pretty good, and that would be my conclusion for this turn.
Yeah, so for my part, just took some shots. Not too much that I don't think you'd expect based on the movement phase. Um, so we're going to see how the next turn develops, and we'll check in with you after that.
You should have me on point. So
All right, so this is the end of movement turn 2. Jeff pushed up on my left flank here with his knights. Just tried to get my Leman Russ into good positions here, trying to get them in cover so they can return fire as necessary. Jeff charged his Cerastus Knight into the Las rifles back here. I countercharged with the Ogrins and then moved my Stormblades to try to get either some rear shots against the Cerastus or to put some fire on those 2 Questoris Knights that are coming in. Repositioned my Malcadors over here. Don't know if we have too much to shoot at, but we do have some shots against the Cerastus if necessary. Over here on the right, maneuvered my Leman Russ back into the cover. They're going to get shot at pretty good by that Porphyrion, I think. And then the Rapiers stayed here in the building, trying to keep control of this right side. And then the Valdors also moved back into cover because we got 2 Questoris Knights advancing on the right side. Aircraft came in on the right side to kind of counter this push. Jeff repositioned his Daradeos in the back there to fire at my Avenger. Is anything I'm missing, Jeff? We kind of repositioned here in the center too.
yeah,
Had this
I
big
mean, I dropped
charge.
this over to give him some little better cover, but yeah.
So this charge here, this is something you did this turn, right?
Yeah.
You charged those guys, and then you got your palisade. So
You didn't mention he survived a decent amount of fire from those
from the
Hydras.
tarantulas,
Yeah, the
that's right.
Hydras. Or is it Hydras?
Tarantulas.
Tarantulas.
Yeah.
It's Hypros missile, right? Launcher. That's the name of the weapon.
I don't remember actually.
I think it's Hypros.
So anyway, guys, that's the end of movement turn 2, and we're gonna go ahead and do combat, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, guys. So this is the situation at the end of combat turn 2. Start over here on the right. Had a face-off between the Valdor and the Questoris over there. Exchanged the fire. I don't think the Valdor did much, but the aircraft was able to do a couple of wounds before it was shot down by the Daradeos. In the center, we had an exchange of fire between these infantry in the building and my las rifles over here holding the objective. I've still got enough in there to maintain control, but we'll see how long that lasts. The rapiers were able to destroy that Knight Porphyrion. And then in the center, we had a combat between my las rifles, that Questoris Knight, and then these Velatari here in the back. So the Velatari were able to knock out a couple of wounds from one of the Questoris Knights before losing a couple of stands, and then the Stormblades were able to finish it off. In the center here, the Ogrins and the las rifles were able to take down the Cerastus Knight. Took a couple of wounds on the Ogrins, but I think it was worth it, obviously, to get rid of that Cerastus. I mispositioned my Malcadors. They weren't really able to do anything this turn, so I probably should have tried to move them into a better position, maybe more towards the center, but we'll see what happens next turn. Over here on the left, I still need to move these guys back. The Knight Acastus, Porphyrion, I believe, destroyed 2 of the Leman Russ, forced them to fall back. And then there was exchange of fire between the Leman Russ and the Questoris. Anything I'm missing, Jeff, from your perspective?
Well, both of my Knight formations are broken, so that's one thing. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much covered it. I'm pretty sure.
So, okay, guys. Well, the score is 16-20 in Jeff's favor because he now controls the right-hand objective and the central objective. Excuse me. I still control the right-hand objective. Jeff controls the central and the left-hand objective, and then I've still got control of my home objective as Jeff does.
Yep.
So we're gonna press on to the next turn. We'll check in with you after movement. All right, here we are at the end of movement, turn 3. Situation is pretty much the same. Jeff's charged up with his knights, Questoris here, you can see, against the Stormblades and the Leman Russ. So they're pinned. I countered with my Ogrins here. So we'll see how that combat goes. Probably going to lose that Stormblade. It's only got a single wound left, but hopefully the Ogrins will be able to take it down. I re-advanced my infantry up that fell back from the initial combat with the Cerastus Knight. In the center, charged my Velatari into those dreadnoughts there, along with trying to get in position to secure that objective. I've got one more detachment of infantry here in this building. This Questoris is positioned there right next to my rapiers, so we'll see how that goes. The Daradeos over there in the distance might be able to put some fire on the Malcadors, but hopefully before that happens, I'll be able to fire on that Questoris Knight there. Over here on the right, I've still got my Valdors holding down the flank, so we'll see how they fare against these Knights Questoris. We've got some infantry still in the building, waiting to pounce on that objective if they can knock out the rest of my infantry there. So that's it for this turn, I think. Jeff, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. We're going to call it there, guys, and we'll check in with you after combat. All right, guys, so here we are at the end of combat, turn 3. You can see over here on the left, Jeff's Questoris Knight knocked out 2 of my Leman Russ, forced the other 2 to fall back. The Questoris here against the Stormblade did a wound, took it out, and then the Ogrins were able to take it down. In the center, again, we had another fight. The Velatari took out some of the dreadnoughts. There's still that one hanging on there. And then we kind of got control of the central area there. Over here, the combined fire from the Malcadors took down this Questoris Knight that was hanging out here. And then the combined fire of these rapiers knocked out the knight over here, along with fire from the Valdors. So at this point in the game, I've wrested control back of the central objective. I've still got control of this one on the right, and then this one in the back, and Jeff still has control of the one on the left and in his home territory. So we're going to call the game a draw at this point. This is turn 3. We're going to have to call the game here. We don't have enough time to go to turn 4 or 5. So the score is pretty close. It's within 5 points. So we're going to call it a draw, and just given the fact that we've got 2 more turns left to play. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Jeff, do you have any final thoughts about the army that you're playing?
What would we do if we did things from the beginning? What would you have done if you could have done things different? So I don't think you knew it to expect playing against the Knights.
No, I think this is only the second time that I've played against Knights. We had a 4-player game a couple months ago, I think now. So I had a little bit of experience with them. They didn't seem as tough as they did in this game. That may be because that was... Well, no, that was after the Liber Strategia came out. So I'm not sure. I just may have had better luck, or I don't know. But I think it's definitely interesting. I think they feel a lot stronger than they did before the Liber Strategia. So
yeah, they're definitely strong. Because this is my second game playing with them, and I didn't win my first game, which I don't care, but I did better than I thought they would in my first game.
Mm-hmm.
So after figuring how to play them, I'm also impressed with the 2 wound Ogrins. They've actually. Yeah, they've definitely improved. Even though there are more points, it's just you can put those points where you need them. I think it's worth it, because I think they're about an extra 50 points or whatever. Right?
They're more expensive.
But that extra wound in close combat, I mean, you're not losing bases. you're just taking a wound across the board.
It makes a big difference.
You know, because yeah.
As
So
far as stuff that I would do differently, I mean, I guess knowing how I didn't, ion shields were a lot more effective than I think I was expecting them to be. So maybe putting more emphasis on getting around to the flanks of the knights, and yeah, I did think it was weird that it's kind of weird that the knights were a lot more susceptible in close combat, because I think that was where I killed the majority of them, was in close combat, or at least half of them I think were killed in close combat, which is a little strange, I think.
yeah,
But that's just kind of how the rules shake out. So they do have to be vulnerable to something, and I think it in some sense is thematic, where you have the old struggle of armor against infantry and combined in close quarters. So it's not terrible, but it just was kind of funny to think that I poured a huge amount of firepower into some of these knights with no result, and then the Ogrins came in and tore them down. So, but yeah, I think it's a good game. I think probably if I was going to play again against knights, I don't usually like to do list tailoring, but I'd probably maybe bring a little bit less infantry and maybe focus more on some some aircraft, maybe, so I can get around to the flanks, or maybe some knights of my own. I really like the knights Atropos, so I might get some of them, or maybe some shadow swords or something would be good.
Yep, there you
But
go.
yeah,
you magnetize those, though, right? So
I haven't magnetized them. No,
you just have.
they're just loose. Yeah, so
You saved the weapon, I'm sure, right? So
yeah.
So
Yeah, so
we'll have
it's
to
possible
magnetize
we
those
might
in
see them on
future.
the channel sometime. So anyway, we're gonna call it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed the game, and we'll see you in the next one.